Always be silent in 7 situations. Stoic secrets. Stoicism. Silence is a weapon far more powerful than words, quieter than any storm, but capable of bringing unparalleled strength and clarity. In a world that's constantly buzzing with noise, opinions, and distractions, silence is a rare commodity, but mastering it requires far more than just restraint. It demands deep self-awareness and the ability to control one's impulses. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They knew that how we choose to respond in moments of provocation often reveals our true character. Silence, far from being a passive retreat, is an active tool for emotional mastery and personal growth. It's a conscious choice to pause, reflect, and respond with intention rather than reacting out of instinct. On this channel, Stoic Secrets, we'll explore 7 critical situations where silence is not just a virtue. It's essential for protecting your peace, maintaining your dignity, and thriving amidst life's chaos. Embrace silence as a key to mastering modern life and discover how it can become one of your most powerful tools for self-control, emotional intelligence, and resilience. Number 1. When anger demands your voice. In our fast-paced world, where emotions can surge unexpectedly, one of the most valuable Stoic secrets is the ability to remain silent when anger calls for a response. Anger, if not managed, can cloud our judgment, leading us to say things we later regret. The Stoics didn't tell us to avoid anger, but to control it. Marcus Aurelius wisely pointed out that the harm caused by anger often exceeds the situation that triggered it. In those moments of intense emotion, we have a choice: to act on impulse or to embrace silence. By staying silent, we allow ourselves time to regain control, letting reason guide us instead of our emotions. This silence isn't surrender, it's strength, choosing not to let fleeting emotions dictate our actions. Think back to a time when you were about to lash out, but instead chose to remain quiet. That silence gave you the clarity to rise above the emotional storm, strengthening your inner resolve. The real power lies in this choice. Silence in the face of anger is an act of resilience, demonstrating that our actions come from inner strength, not momentary impulses. Silence also plays a crucial role when we're unsure or lack all the facts. Have you ever felt compelled to speak up even when you didn't have enough information? In these moments, silence is not weakness, but wisdom. By holding back, we acknowledge that we don't yet have the full picture, preventing us from speaking out of turn and causing confusion. In a work meeting or a personal discussion, your silence can allow the conversation to unfold naturally, giving you the opportunity to contribute thoughtfully when you're truly informed. This type of silence isn't passive. It's a conscious choice to speak only when we have something valuable to add. In a world where everyone seems eager to be heard, we often forget that the most powerful thing we can do is listen. Whether talking with a loved one or a colleague, silence can foster deeper understanding and connection. When we listen, truly listen, without interrupting or waiting for our turn to speak, we create space for others to express themselves. Have you ever experienced how a brief silence in a conversation shifts the dynamic, allowing you to fully absorb the other person's perspective? This silence speaks volumes, helping us understand more and react with greater empathy. The Stoics taught that the more we listen, the more wisdom we gain. By choosing silence in these moments, we cultivate patience and wisdom, building stronger connections with others. Silence is also essential when we're tempted to gossip or spread negativity. It's easy to fall into the trap of speaking poorly about others, but the Stoics warn against it. True strength lies in resisting the urge to diminish others with our words. When we remain silent in these situations, we show integrity, choosing not to engage in behavior that harms others. Silence here aligns us with Stoic virtues like wisdom and justice, helping us avoid contributing to the suffering or degradation of others. Think about the last time gossip was tempting. By resisting, you not only protect your own integrity, but reinforce your inner strength. When faced with uncertainty or doubt, silence can be a powerful tool. Stoicism teaches us not to rush into decisions impulsively, but to take a step back and reflect. Silence in these moments allows clarity to emerge, helping us make decisions with greater wisdom. It's through quiet reflection that we can hear the voice of reason and guide ourselves toward better choices. Silence becomes a key response when dealing with criticism. Whether the feedback is positive or negative, the Stoic approach is to remain calm and composed, not defensive. The real power lies in absorbing criticism with equanimity and not letting external judgments disturb our inner peace. By choosing silence in response to criticism, we demonstrate control over our emotions, reinforcing our commitment to maintaining balance and harmony within ourselves. The Stoic secrets of silence aren't just about staying quiet. They are about mastering our reactions and controlling our impulses. Each time we choose silence, we rise above the noise of the world, acting with wisdom, integrity, and resilience. So the next time you're faced with anger, uncertainty, gossip, or criticism, remember that silence is not weakness. It's a powerful sign of strength. By embracing these Stoic secrets, you can cultivate a life of peace, clarity, and inner strength. How will you use silence in your life to exercise emotional control and wisdom? The choice is yours, and in that choice lies the path to greater serenity. Number 2. When the fool begs for a reaction. In our everyday lives, it's common to encounter individuals whose sole purpose seems to be provoking us, people who thrive on drama and chaos, eagerly awaiting a reaction. These individuals often seek to draw us into their storm, hoping to ignite conflict, demand attention, or simply feed off our emotional energy. They can appear in many forms, whether it's a colleague attempting to undermine us in a meeting, a family member trying to spark an argument, or even a stranger online trying to pick a fight. In each of these instances, the Stoic teachings offer us a powerful antidote to such provocations: silence. As the philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "It is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them." This simple yet profound statement reminds us that the source of most conflict lies not in the actions of others, but in how we interpret and respond to them. When we choose to engage in verbal sparring with someone who seeks to provoke us, we risk diminishing our own dignity and wasting our energy. The Stoics argue that entering into these pointless battles only leads to frustration, stress, and exhaustion, emotions that ultimately weaken us. Instead, they advocate for silence. By choosing not to react, we not only avoid escalating the situation, but we also maintain control over our own peace of mind and self-respect. This Stoic principle is especially significant in today's world, where the rise of social media has made it easier than ever to become caught up in pointless debates and arguments. Online platforms are often rife with individuals trying to provoke others for the sake of attention or to stir up controversy. In these virtual spaces, it's easy to feel the temptation to respond, to correct a misinformed comment, defend our beliefs, or stand up for ourselves. But the Stoics would urge us to resist this impulse. Silence, in this context, becomes an incredibly powerful tool. By not responding, we confuse those who seek to provoke us. It disarms their attempts to drag us into their drama and robs them of the reaction they crave. More importantly, Silence allows us to conserve our emotional energy, which is finite, and focus on things that truly matter, whether it's our relationships, our work, or our personal growth. The energy spent on trivial disputes is energy that could be better used to nurture our well-being and pursue our values. Consider a time when you chose silence over engaging in a conflict. Perhaps it was when someone insulted you or criticized you unfairly. By refraining from responding, you not only preserved your dignity, but also avoided unnecessary conflict that could have escalated further. Silence, in these moments, is a deliberate choice, a choice to protect your emotional energy and to retain control over your own behavior. It is a way of refusing to let the actions of others dictate how you feel. In today's world, where criticisms and opinions often come in abundance, especially on social media, the wisdom of the Stoics holds more relevance than ever. As Seneca famously said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." By pausing before reacting, we create space between the provocation and our response, which helps prevent rash decisions and regrets. This practice of taking a moment to reflect before responding is one of the most effective ways to safeguard our emotional state and maintain our peace of mind. In the face of criticism, harsh words, or unwanted opinions, we can remember that silence is not weakness. Rather, it is a powerful choice that aligns us with the principles of modern Stoicism. It is a decision to conserve our energy, focus on what truly matters, and rise above the noise of everyday distractions. As we navigate through life's inevitable provocations, we must remember that we are in control of our responses. When we choose silence, we choose to protect our inner peace and align ourselves with the timeless wisdom of the Stoics, who understood that true strength lies not in reacting impulsively, but in maintaining composure in the face of adversity. Silence in such situations becomes a tool for emotional preservation and a statement of our ability to rise above the turbulence of others' actions. In a world that often pulls us into conflicts and distractions, silence remains one of the most potent forms of modern Stoicism, a practice that not only guards our emotional well-being, but also preserves our dignity in a chaotic world. Number 3. When you lack the full picture. In our fast-paced modern world, where decisions are made in an instant and information floods our lives, it's easy to rush to judgment. We often form opinions and make decisions based on incomplete information, assumptions, or emotions. This impulse to judge quickly is a natural human instinct, driven by our desire to feel in control and make sense of the chaos around us. Yet, we all know from experience that these snap decisions often lead to regret. Hasty actions can cause misunderstandings, damage relationships, and lead to lasting harm. This is where Stoic philosophy offers us a better way, an approach based on patience, reflection, and careful consideration. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, taught us to pause before we speak or act. He emphasized the importance of fully understanding a situation before responding. Silence, for Epictetus, is not a passive state, but a strategic tool that creates space for us to gather facts, reflect, and avoid jumping to conclusions. When we lack the full picture, silence allows us to wait for clarity, preventing us from reacting impulsively. In those moments, instead of rashly acting on incomplete or fragmented information, silence gives us the time we need to allow the situation to unfold fully, giving us the opportunity to make better informed decisions. Marcus Aurelius, another central figure in Stoic thought, famously said, "Truth is not born of haste, it is born of careful reflection and thoughtfulness." This quote encapsulates the Stoic belief that wisdom emerges from stillness, not from speed. In a world that constantly pushes us to act quickly, we can easily forget that true understanding comes not from how fast we act, but from how deeply we think. By taking a moment to pause, we create the space needed for insight and wisdom to develop. This allows us to consider all aspects of a situation, ensuring that our actions are thoughtful, deliberate, and aligned with our values. Reflect on those moments in your life when you acted too quickly, only to regret it later. Whether it was making a snap judgment about someone, reacting to a news story without fully understanding it, or speaking out of anger or frustration, the consequences of hasty decisions are rarely trivial. Relationships can suffer, misunderstandings can escalate, and our reputation can be harmed. The Stoics remind us that in these moments, silence is not only wise, it is necessary. Silence preserves our integrity because it allows us time to gather information, reflect, and think through the situation before responding. When we take the time to pause, we are more likely to speak with accuracy, empathy, and understanding, avoiding the mistakes that often come from impulsive reactions. In today's digital age, the relevance of the Stoic practice of silence is greater than ever. With social media and instant communication, we are constantly pressured to respond immediately. In many cases, we are called to form opinions or share reactions before we've had a chance to fully digest the information at hand. Yet, just as Marcus Aurelius advised, it's much wiser to allow the dust to settle before reacting. The world moves at a dizzying pace, and taking a moment to pause, reflect, and remain silent can be a powerful tool. Silence in such moments gives us the space to think more clearly, make better decisions, and preserve our relationships. This practice of silence is not about withdrawing from life or disengaging. Rather, it's about cultivating patience and discernment. It's recognizing that true wisdom comes not from quick action, but from taking the time to consider the consequences of our words and actions. In a society that often prizes speed and instant responses, embracing silence as a tool for reflection can be transformative. It allows us to think more deeply, communicate more intentionally, and act more thoughtfully. In conclusion, the Stoic practice of silence in the face of incomplete information remains as relevant today as it was in ancient times. By resisting the urge to react immediately, we create space for wisdom to emerge. This enables us to make more informed, thoughtful decisions that align with our values. Whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or online interactions, adopting the Stoic practice of silence helps us avoid rash judgments and navigate the complexities of life with greater clarity and purpose. Modern Stoicism, which emphasizes patience and reflection, teaches us that wisdom is not born of haste, but of careful, measured thought. You've taken an important step in applying Stoic principles to your life. Leave a comment with the phrase, "Silence to reflect, act with wisdom," to let us know you're practicing patience and thoughtful consideration before making decisions. Don't rush to react. Let stillness and insight guide you. Keep following along and continue your journey of self-mastery. You're making meaningful changes. Number 4. When your ego craves validation. In today's world, it can often feel like we are constantly surrounded by noise, opinions, feedback, and judgments coming from all directions. Social media, workplaces, and even casual conversations constantly push us toward seeking validation, the approval or recognition of others. We live in an age where the pressure to be seen, heard, and praised can become overwhelming. The need to impress and stand out has become ingrained in our culture. But here's a profound Stoic secret. Silence in these very moments holds incredible power. The Stoics, ancient philosophers who emphasized rational thought and inner peace, believed that external validation is a trap. When we seek recognition from others, we're handing over control of our own happiness and self-worth. We give away our power to those whose opinions can change at any given moment. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us that true growth comes from within. Our sense of self should not be dependent on the applause or acknowledgement of the outside world. If we live for the approval of others, our happiness becomes fragile, constantly fluctuating with each change in their opinions. The Stoics teach us to choose silence in those moments when we feel the urge to speak out, to impress, or to gain approval. By doing so, we reclaim our autonomy. Silence in such situations is not an absence of words, but a powerful act of self-empowerment. Think about those times when you felt the pull to speak, to share an opinion, or to showcase your accomplishments, just to be seen or heard by others. How did it feel when you resisted that urge and chose to remain silent instead? Your silence wasn't weakness. It was a reflection of your inner strength. It was you telling both yourself and the world, "My worth is not determined by your applause. It is determined by my actions, by my integrity, and by my values." Silence in these moments becomes a way of protecting our inner peace, reminding us that our true value doesn't come from the validation of others, but from the strength of our own convictions. As Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic, once said, "True confidence does not need to announce itself. It simply is." True confidence doesn't shout to be recognized. It stands firm, quietly, knowing that it does not need external validation to be valid. In these moments of silence, we connect with our inner strength. We remind ourselves that we don't need others' approval to feel worthy or successful. Silence becomes an act of trust in ourselves, a reflection of our commitment to our values and principles. The next time you find yourself in a situation where you feel compelled to speak simply to impress, stop and ask yourself, what does my silence reveal about my self-worth? It's not easy. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to be loud, to be visible, and to chase after praise. But the Stoic path is different. Stoic wisdom teaches us that silence can be a powerful tool for finding peace within ourselves and detaching from the need for approval. In choosing silence, we embrace a quiet, unshakable sense of self-reliance. We no longer need to be swayed by the opinions of others. We learn that our true strength lies in who we are, not in what others think of us. This Stoic secret can transform the way we navigate the world, especially in social and professional settings. Imagine how empowering it would be to know that your sense of self does not depend on external recognition. Instead, your worth is defined by your actions and how you live in alignment with your values, not by the approval of others. The more you practice this, the more you will redefine what it means to be truly confident. Confidence isn't about impressing others or gaining their approval. It's about being your authentic self, unaffected by the fleeting judgments of the crowd. When you choose silence, you show the world that you are enough as you are. So, the next time your ego craves validation, whether through words, actions, or the need to be seen, remember this powerful Stoic secret: choose silence. In that silence, you will find your true power. You will discover the strength that comes from being content with who you are, regardless of anyone else's opinions. This is a practice that, while challenging at first, will lead to a life of greater peace, resilience, and self-empowerment. And in the end, you will learn that silence is not just a quiet absence. It is a powerful declaration of your inner strength. Number 5. When words will not heal. There are times in life when words, no matter how well-intentioned, simply fail to heal the deep wounds of the heart. When we encounter grief, loss, or emotional distress, the natural impulse is to speak, to offer comfort, share advice, or attempt to ease the pain with our words. Yet, the Stoics teach us a powerful lesson. Sometimes the most compassionate act is to remain silent. As Seneca wisely said, "Speech that does not improve upon silence is better left unsaid." In moments of suffering, whether from loss, personal failure, or emotional hardship, no matter how eloquent or heartfelt our words may be, they often fall short of alleviating the pain. In these moments, silence is not a lack of care, but a deep and meaningful presence, a form of support that transcends verbal attempts at comfort. In the world we live in today, we are surrounded by constant noise, chatter, advice, and the need to fill every pause with words. When someone is suffering, it's easy to believe that our words might soothe them or fix the problem. But true healing does not always require speech. Sometimes the most profound support we can offer is simply being present, silently acknowledging their pain and giving them the space to feel without judgment. Silence provides others with the room to process their emotions on their own terms, without the pressure of responding or fulfilling our expectations. It allows them to work through their grief in a way that feels right for them, without the imposition of quick fixes or unsolicited advice. Think back to a time when you or someone close to you faced deep sadness or hardship. In that moment, perhaps someone simply sat with you, offering silent support. No words were needed. Their quiet presence was enough. This kind of support was far more comforting than any advice or well-meaning words could have been. It communicated empathy without trying to fix the situation. It created a safe space for emotions to flow freely, without interruption. This is the heart of the Stoic practice of silence, recognizing that we cannot always fix what is broken, but we can offer our attention, presence, and acceptance. Modern Stoicism places significant value on this principle. It teaches us to acknowledge the limits of our influence over others' emotions and experiences. We cannot control how others feel, nor can we always provide the answers they need. Instead, we offer the gift of our presence, recognizing that silence is not withdrawal, but a way to honor the complexity of another's suffering. Silence in these situations shows respect for the emotional boundaries of others and allows them to heal at their own pace, without the imposition of our own solutions. Embracing silence is not about avoiding discomfort, it's about building emotional resilience. By learning to sit in silence, we also learn to sit with discomfort, both our own and that of others. Sometimes, the best response to someone's suffering is no response at all. In a world constantly bombarded by noise, whether from the endless flow of information, the pressure to offer opinions, or the urge to fill every silence with words, modern Stoicism teaches us that silence, when practiced intentionally, becomes a powerful form of emotional strength. It is a form of connection that transcends the need for constant verbal exchanges. Silence, in this context, often creates the most space for meaningful connection. It allows us to listen deeply, without interruption, offering a presence that speaks louder than words. Silence is not a withdrawal, rather, it is an active form of support. It provides the space for others to process, grieve, and heal in their own time, without us trying to shape or rush their experience. In a world that constantly urges us to speak, to solve, and to fix, embracing silence can be a radical act of compassion and wisdom. Through silence, we show respect for others' suffering and acknowledge the limits of our own knowledge and control. In practicing modern Stoicism, we learn to be fully present, offering silent support, and accepting that some things are simply beyond our ability to change. This practice fosters a deeper emotional resilience, both for ourselves and those we seek to comfort. Silence becomes a profound form of communication, one that transcends words and establishes a connection that is both healing and meaningful. It reminds us that at times the greatest act of kindness is simply to be there, offering our quiet presence without the need to say anything at all. Number 6. When speaking betrays your values. In life, we all face situations where the pressure to conform or gain approval tempts us to speak in ways that betray our core values and personal integrity. Whether it's in social circles, at work, or even in family settings, the desire to be liked or accepted can sometimes overshadow our commitment to honesty. During these moments, the Stoic practice of silence becomes not only a refuge, but also a powerful shield that guards our self-respect and preserves our principles. It is in these moments of temptation that the wisdom of Stoic thought can guide us, teaching us that our words must align with our inner truth rather than bend to the whims of external pressures or fleeting desires for approval. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This profound statement reminds us that our peace of mind and the quality of our lives are directly shaped by the integrity of our actions and words. When we speak in ways that contradict our core beliefs, it compromises our happiness. The Stoics understood this, which is why they emphasized living by our values rather than simply expressing them through words. Epictetus, another influential Stoic, once advised, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This is the essence of Stoic practice. Our actions and words should reflect who we truly are, not what others expect or want us to be. Silence, then, is not an act of avoidance or weakness, but rather an intentional choice to maintain our integrity in the face of external pressure. When words threaten to undermine our values, choosing silence becomes an act of courage, a demonstration of our commitment to honesty and authenticity. For example, think of a time when you were tempted to flatter someone insincerely or say something to please others, even though you knew it wasn't true or didn't align with your beliefs. Perhaps in that moment, you chose to remain quiet, not because you were afraid or weak, but because you valued your integrity above the temporary satisfaction of pleasing someone else. This is where Stoicism shines. Your silence was a silent but powerful affirmation of your commitment to personal values, demonstrating that you were not willing to compromise your truth for superficial gains. This decision is not a passive retreat, but an active choice to stand firm in your values, to protect your dignity, and to avoid speaking in ways you might later regret. It is a testament to the strength found in self-restraint and fortitude, qualities that are the bedrock of Stoic philosophy and pathways to inner peace. Modern Stoicism teaches us that true strength is not loud or attention-seeking. It's quiet, steady, and rooted in personal conviction. When we choose silence, we are making an intentional decision to protect our inner harmony, especially when external forces attempt to pull us away from our values. In our modern, fast-paced and image-conscious world, the temptation to speak without thinking is more common than ever. Whether it's on social media, in professional settings, or within personal relationships, we are often faced with situations where speaking falsely or without purpose seems like the easy way out. However, by choosing silence in these moments, we not only protect our self-respect, but also ensure that our actions and words remain true to our principles. In these situations, silence is not weakness, it is strength. It's the strength to stand firm in your truth, especially when it might be uncomfortable, inconvenient, or unpopular. It's the courage to say, "My values are more important than temporary approval." It's a reminder that our character and peace of mind are built on consistency and authenticity, not on conforming to the expectations of others. In choosing silence, we actively protect ourselves from unnecessary conflict and preserve the quality of our relationships. By refusing to speak in ways that compromise our integrity, we protect not only our self-respect, but also the trust and respect we build with others. So, when you find yourself at a crossroads, where the choice is between speaking to please others or remaining silent to uphold your truth, remember that silence is not a retreat. It is an act of bravery. It is a demonstration of courage that strengthens your character, shields your soul from regret, and reinforces the values that guide you through life. Let me ask you, in those difficult moments, when you have to choose between saying things that are not true to your true nature and pleasing others, which will you choose? Remember, true strength does not come from pleasing others, but from standing firm in your values and being true to yourself. Sometimes silence is not weakness. It is the greatest defense of your principles and integrity. Like this video and comment below, silence protects values to let us know that you are standing up for your values. Number 7. When listening holds greater wisdom. In today's world, where everyone seems eager to be heard, one of the most powerful Stoic secrets is the ability to remain silent when listening holds greater wisdom. We live in a society that values speaking up, expressing opinions, asserting ideas, and making ourselves heard. However, the Stoics teach us that true wisdom and growth often come not from speaking, but from listening. As Epictetus famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason." This simple yet profound statement teaches us that we are meant to listen more than we speak. When we listen, we open ourselves to new perspectives, deeper understanding, and a richer connection to others. Listening is not a passive activity. It is an active pursuit of wisdom. It requires humility, as it involves acknowledging that we do not have all the answers and that others may have valuable insights to offer. Think back to a time when you chose to truly listen, instead of interrupting with your own thoughts. In that moment, perhaps you discovered something you had never considered, something you might have missed if you had been too eager to speak. Silence, in such situations, is not an empty void to be filled. It is a space for growth, reflection, and understanding. It allows you to connect with others on a deeper level, enriching your understanding of them and the world around you. In a conversation, silence is not about withholding words out of avoidance or indifference. Instead, it's about consciously choosing to create space for reflection and connection. By resisting the urge to speak, you give yourself the opportunity to absorb more, to reflect more, and to engage more meaningfully. This kind of listening shows that you value the perspectives of others and are open to learning from them. In doing so, you create stronger bonds and improve your relationships. When you truly listen, without the desire to immediately respond or interrupt, you show respect and empathy, which fosters trust and understanding. Consider how often you may feel compelled to fill every silence with your own words. What would happen if, instead, you used those moments to listen more attentively? By embracing silence in this way, you create the opportunity to learn and grow. It allows you to gain insights that might otherwise be missed and helps you understand others at a much deeper level. Imagine how much more enriching our interactions could be if we focused on listening rather than preparing our next response. In doing so, we not only allow others to speak, but also create room for personal growth. Active listening is essential in both personal and professional relationships. When we listen carefully and attentively, we gain a deeper understanding of others' perspectives, which helps us navigate challenges and strengthen our connections. Think about how a conversation flows when both parties are truly listening rather than competing to be heard. This type of listening fosters respect and openness, enabling us to engage in more meaningful dialogue. The Stoic secrets of silence teach us that by listening deeply, we often gain more wisdom than we would by speaking. Furthermore, the practice of listening teaches us to become more compassionate and open-minded. As we listen, We hear things that challenge our assumptions and broaden our perspectives. Over time, this helps us become more understanding as we begin to see the world through others' eyes. Listening with an open heart and mind allows us to grow emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually, enriching our lives in ways speaking alone cannot. So, I ask you, how often do you choose silence to truly listen and learn? How often do you resist the urge to speak and instead embrace the quiet, allowing yourself to be fully present in the conversation? By practicing this Stoic secret, you not only gain wisdom, but also show that you value the voices of others. You demonstrate that you are not only capable of speaking, but are even more capable of listening, truly listening, and through that, you enrich your life and your relationships. Ultimately, the strength of silence in listening can deepen your understanding, enhance your connections, and help you grow in ways that speaking never will. In these 7 situations, silence becomes not just a response, but a powerful tool for growth and wisdom. By practicing restraint in these moments, you build emotional strength and develop a deeper sense of self-awareness. Further insights into the power of silence. Now that we've explored the 7 crucial situations where silence can be your greatest ally, let's dive deeper into why silence is more than just the absence of words. It holds the key to emotional mastery, personal growth, and true leadership. Stay tuned to discover how silence can transform your life. Number 1. Self-reflection through silence. Silence is a profoundly powerful tool for personal growth and self-awareness, offering a rare opportunity for introspection in a world constantly vying for our attention. In the face of constant noise and distractions, we often overlook the value of quiet moments that allow us to connect with our true selves. The Stoics understood this well, emphasizing silence as essential for examining our thoughts, actions, and emotions without the interference of the external world. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Silence, in this sense, provides a mental space where we can pause, reflect, and assess whether our actions align with our values. These moments of stillness allow us to see clearly not only where we stand, but also the direction in which we want to move forward, providing the foundation for personal growth and intentional living. Reflecting on a moment of silence, perhaps during a quiet walk in the car or even just at home, often reveals the clarity we seek. In these quiet instances, the constant noise of life fades, allowing us to hear our own thoughts with greater precision. This clarity often helps us recognize areas where we may have gone astray or where our choices no longer serve our deeper beliefs. Silence, in this light, is a gift that helps us reassess and learn from our experiences, allowing us to make better informed decisions. The Stoics believed that self-reflection was a vital practice for personal development, not just passive thinking, but deep engagement with our inner world. By understanding our emotions, motivations, and responses, we can intentionally choose the path that best reflects who we want to be. In the context of modern Stoicism, the practice of self-reflection through silence is even more crucial. We live in a fast-paced world filled with constant stimuli and external pressures, particularly from social media, where the noise often shapes our thoughts and decisions without us even realizing it. Silence offers us a counterbalance in this chaos. By embracing quiet moments, we withdraw from the constant barrage of external input and reconnect with our own inner voice. Silence helps us cut through the noise, allowing us to evaluate whether our actions are driven by our true values or merely by the expectations and distractions of society. In this space, we are better able to respond thoughtfully and in alignment with who we truly are. Beyond clarity, self-reflection in silence strengthens our emotional intelligence, which is essential for navigating life's challenges. Regularly reflecting on our actions and responses helps us become more self-aware and equips us to handle difficult situations with calm and poise. This is especially important during moments of stress or conflict, where emotions can run high. Silence provides the opportunity to pause and consider our choices, reflecting on what truly matters before we react. As Seneca wisely said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." In moments of silence, we quiet the mental chatter and are able to focus on the present, making decisions with clarity rather than anxiety or impulsive reactions. In modern life, the importance of silence is often overlooked, yet it remains one of the most effective practices for both personal development and emotional well-being. By intentionally creating time for quiet reflection, we can strengthen our connection to our values, develop emotional resilience, and better navigate the complexities of today's world. The Stoics believed that self-awareness and self-mastery are central to living a virtuous life, and silence provides the perfect environment for cultivating these qualities. Through silence, we have the space to reflect on our actions, learn from our mistakes, and grow as individuals. As we engage in this practice, we align ourselves with the principles of modern Stoicism, allowing these quiet moments to guide us on our journey of personal growth and emotional intelligence. Silence is not just the absence of noise, it is the presence of clarity, a chance to reconnect with our inner selves, and an opportunity to move forward with purpose. Number 2. Silence for emotional control. Emotions often drive us to act impulsively, making decisions that we later regret. Whether it's anger in the heat of an argument, frustration with a challenging situation, or stress in a high-pressure environment, our emotions can cloud our judgment and prompt reactions that may not align with our values. This is a universal human experience. However, the Stoics teach us a powerful tool for managing our emotional responses: silence. Silence allows us the mental space needed to regain composure, step back from the emotion of the moment, and choose a response that is more measured and thoughtful. This practice of emotional control is vital for living a virtuous and peaceful life, as it helps us avoid the turmoil that often results from impulsive behavior. Epictetus, one of the central figures of Stoic philosophy, believed that while we cannot control the emotions we experience, we can control how we respond to them. We are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them, he said. This highlights the Stoic belief that emotional reactions are often a result of how we interpret a situation, not the situation itself. By practicing silence in emotionally charged moments, we create a pause between the stimulus, such as a critical comment, a stressful situation, or an angry outburst, and our response. This pause is where our true power lies. Silence in such moments doesn't mean shutting down or ignoring our feelings. It means creating the space necessary for reflection and choosing our response with intention. Reflecting on your own experiences, you may recall moments when silence allowed you to regain control of your emotions. Perhaps you've avoided saying something hurtful in the heat of an argument, or refrained from making a rash decision in a stressful situation. These are times when silence is not weakness but strength. It takes considerable emotional maturity to resist the urge to react impulsively, and this is where Stoicism provides us with practical wisdom. In the Stoic tradition, emotional resilience is developed through regular practice. The more we embrace silence in moments of emotional intensity, the more we strengthen our ability to maintain composure and act from a place of wisdom. The modern world, with its constant demands and high expectations, often tempts us to respond immediately, whether through social media, in professional settings, or in personal conflicts. The pressure to act quickly especially when emotions are heightened, is overwhelming. However, modern Stoicism teaches us that emotional wisdom is not born from quick reactions, but from the ability to pause, reflect, and then act with clarity and purpose. By practicing silence in these moments, we can avoid the knee-jerk responses that often lead to regret. Furthermore, silence as a tool for emotional control is not about bottling up our emotions or suppressing them. Rather, it's about choosing the right moment to express ourselves and doing so with thoughtfulness. In modern life, this is increasingly important as the digital age encourages constant sharing and reacting, often without taking time to reflect. In conversations, social media exchanges, and even in personal relationships, taking a moment of silence can help us manage our emotions and communicate with more wisdom and understanding. So, when you feel that rush of emotion rising, remember that silence can serve as your ally. It creates the necessary mental distance to regain perspective, reassess the situation, and choose a response that aligns with your higher values. Whether in moments of anger, frustration, or stress, silence becomes a practice of emotional discipline, helping us cultivate emotional resilience and navigate life's challenges with more grace and wisdom. By committing to this practice, you not only become more in control of your emotions, but also begin to embody the essence of modern Stoicism, choosing thoughtful responses over impulsive reactions, and in doing so, living a life of greater virtue and composure. Number 3. Silence builds inner strength. In our fast-paced, chaotic world, life constantly throws challenges our way, whether it's a frustrating encounter with a stranger, a critique from a coworker, or a personal setback. It's easy to react emotionally in these situations, isn't it? The urge to shout, argue, or defend ourselves feels almost automatic. However, there's a profound Stoic secret that can change the way you handle these moments. Silence is not weakness, it is strength. The Stoics understood that true power doesn't lie in how loud or quick we react, but in how calmly we respond when life tests us. Silence becomes a shield that allows us to protect our emotional state and tap into our inner strength. As Marcus Aurelius wisely put it, true strength comes from within. Choosing silence in moments of hardship doesn't mean we're avoiding the problem. It's a way of actively preserving our peace and mental clarity. When we stay silent, we give ourselves the time and space to reflect, regain composure, and focus on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and reactions. Think back to a time when you stayed silent instead of reacting in anger. Remember how you paused, letting wisdom take over instead of emotions. Your silence wasn't about being passive. It was an empowering choice to stay balanced. Silence in these moments serves as an anchor, helping us keep our emotions in check, even when the world around us is chaotic. Now, think about a situation where someone provoked you, perhaps a heated exchange at work or an argument with a friend. In these moments, it's like a test of our patience and strength. Imagine choosing silence instead of reacting immediately. By holding back, you not only protect your peace, but you also create the opportunity to reflect on how to handle the situation thoughtfully. Each time we practice this form of silence, we become more emotionally resilient. We stop reacting on autopilot and begin responding with purpose, guided by our values. Through silence, we regain control over our emotions, and with it, our ability to control our lives. The Stoics understood that silence isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about meeting them with wisdom. Every time we resist the urge to react impulsively, we grow stronger and more capable of navigating life's difficulties. We learn to trust ourselves to respond with clarity, no matter how tough the situation is. So the next time life challenges you, ask yourself, What would silence reveal about my strength? It's not always easy, and it takes practice. But the more you adopt silence as a tool, the more you'll notice your resilience growing. You'll be able to face future challenges with calmness and confidence, grounded in your inner power. This is one of the Stoic secrets that, when embraced, can radically change how we approach adversity. With each moment of silence, we build not just emotional resilience, but also wisdom. It's through silence that we discover the strength to face anything with grace. So remember, silence is not a sign of weakness, it's a reflection of inner power. The next time you're faced with a challenge, choose silence, and in doing so, you'll find the strength to overcome it with composure and clarity. When you face challenges and choose silence to maintain your calm, you're truly developing inner strength. Share a moment when you chose silence instead of reacting immediately in a tough situation. Comment: I choose silence to grow stronger, to show that you're practicing inner strength and facing life with composure. Number 4. Silence in leadership. In leadership, silence often carries more power than speaking. This concept may seem counterintuitive in a world where quick decision-making and constant communication are valued, but the most effective leaders understand the critical importance of timing. They recognize that sometimes saying nothing at all is the best course of action. As Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wisely observed, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In leadership, silence acts as a form of self-discipline, a pause that allows for deeper clarity and understanding before making a decision. By remaining silent, leaders give themselves space to reflect, assess the situation more thoroughly, and avoid rushing to conclusions that may be less informed. When a leader listens attentively and resists the urge to immediately respond, it demonstrates respect for the thoughts and opinions of their team. This kind of silence is not passive. Rather, it actively creates a culture of trust and collaboration. By stepping back and allowing others to speak, a leader encourages open dialogue, which fosters inclusivity. Silence, in this context, becomes an essential tool that empowers team members to share their ideas, knowing their input is valued. In today's rapidly changing world, where collaboration is crucial, this kind of leadership is essential. The most successful leaders are those who don't dominate discussions, but create a space where diverse perspectives are encouraged. Silence allows the leader to absorb all relevant information before offering their thoughts, ensuring a more comprehensive and thoughtful decision-making process. Think back to a time when, as a leader, you practiced silence during a meeting or conversation. By allowing others the floor, you likely gained insights that you might have missed if you had been talking. Perhaps someone shared a valuable idea that led to a breakthrough or a concern that could have been overlooked. When a leader remains silent, it opens the door for others to step forward, and this often leads to better decision-making. In modern Stoicism, this aligns with a key teaching. True strength in leadership is not found in asserting dominance or control, but in creating space for others to be heard and valued. Silence in leadership, then, becomes an act of wisdom and humility, where the leader acknowledges the limits of their own knowledge and actively seeks contributions from others. Moreover, silence in leadership allows for deep reflection. It gives leaders time to carefully consider all the factors at play before acting. In many situations, rushing to speak or act can result in missed opportunities or poor decisions. The great leaders understand that their words, when chosen carefully, carry weight, and so they avoid filling silence with unnecessary chatter. They know that their silence creates an atmosphere where everyone is encouraged to think critically, share freely, and participate in the conversation. This is why silence is a tool for building empathy and trust within a team. A leader who practices silence shows they value others' perspectives, prioritizing thoughtful consideration over the desire to be heard. In this way, silence is an act of respect, not passivity. In today's fast-paced, often noisy world, the ability to pause and reflect before speaking is more valuable than ever. We are constantly surrounded by information, opinions, and demands for immediate responses. However, leaders who master the art of silence can rise above the noise and lead with greater clarity and purpose. Silence in leadership fosters an environment where collaboration thrives and all voices are heard. It becomes a tool not only for better decision-making, but also for strengthening relationships within teams. In embracing silence, leaders demonstrate emotional intelligence, patience, and a deep respect for the collective wisdom of their team. By creating space for reflection, understanding, and thoughtful contributions, they build an environment where innovation, trust, and collaboration flourish. Number 5. Silence and true wisdom. In life, we often find ourselves in situations where the urge to speak is overwhelming. Yet, it is in these moments that silence proves to be a powerful tool and a gateway to true wisdom. The Stoics believed that silence is intrinsically tied to wisdom, creating the necessary space for reflection, contemplation, and understanding. As Epictetus wisely noted, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In a world that values speech over listening, silence provides the pause we need to clear our minds and discern what truly matters. By embracing silence, we not only give ourselves the opportunity to gather our thoughts, but also create the mental clarity needed to make decisions rooted in truth, not influenced by emotions or external pressures. Silence, therefore, is not merely the absence of words, but a deliberate practice that allows our inner wisdom to rise, guiding us to act with greater thoughtfulness and purpose. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions are constant and the pressure to react is high, silence offers us the ability to listen, both to others and to ourselves. It's easy to become overwhelmed by the continuous stream of opinions and information that surrounds us. We often find ourselves reacting impulsively without taking the time to reflect on our values, needs, and desires. Silence becomes essential in these moments. It creates space for us to hear our inner voice, absorb valuable insights, and process our experiences. By pausing in silence, we allow wisdom to emerge, not just from external sources, but from within. This practice helps us to better understand ourselves and the world, ensuring our decisions align with our deeper principles and goals. Think about a time when taking a moment of silence shifted your perspective. Perhaps during a heated conversation or disagreement, your emotions were clouding your judgment. In that moment, instead of reacting impulsively, you chose to remain silent. This silence gave you the time to process your feelings and approach the situation with greater clarity. By creating this mental space, you likely gained new insights that allowed you to respond more wisely and with greater understanding. As Seneca said, "A wise man is never less alone than when he is with himself." This underscores the importance of silence as a tool for self-reflection and growth. In those quiet moments, we find the mental clarity needed to make decisions that reflect our true values and avoid regretting hasty words or actions. In modern life, where speed and urgency often govern our decisions, silence can be transformative. Whether in a work meeting, during family discussions, or in personal decision-making moments, silence provides the opportunity to pause and think critically before speaking or acting. It helps us avoid impulsive remarks and gives us the chance to respond thoughtfully. In our noisy world, where opinions are constantly shared and distractions are ever present, silence offers a sanctuary, a quiet place where true wisdom can emerge, untainted by the chaos of everyday life. Practicing silence, as taught by modern Stoicism, allows us to cultivate mental clarity, make decisions based on truth, and approach challenges with calmness and insight. By embracing silence, we unlock the wisdom that can only be found in stillness. Silence allows our thoughts to settle, our emotions to cool, and our understanding to deepen. In these moments, wisdom grows, and we become better equipped to navigate life's complexities. So the next time you are faced with a difficult decision or a tense moment, remember that silence is not a weakness. Rather, it is a powerful tool for self-mastery and personal growth. It is through silence that we grant ourselves the gift of wisdom, the wisdom that comes from deep reflection, listening, and clarity. Silence is more than just the absence of sound. It is a space for growth, insight, and the cultivation of true wisdom that guides us through life's challenges. In conclusion, silence is a powerful tool for self-mastery, resilience, and emotional control. The Stoics understood that true strength comes not from constantly speaking, but from knowing when to remain silent. Silence gives us space to pause, reflect, and align our actions with our values. Whether facing anger, uncertainty, or challenging emotions, silence allows us to respond thoughtfully, not impulsively. As you reflect on these 7 situations where silence is essential, think about how it can empower you to make wiser decisions and build stronger relationships. Remember, silence is not disengagement. It's an active practice that leads to greater wisdom and integrity. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to Stoic Secrets. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Stay strong, stay thoughtful, and let your silence guide you.